Hey there, welcome to my channel. And in this video, I want to share some tips and insights on mahadasha lords. Okay, so your mahadasha planetary lords. So if you're watching this video, I do have an inkling that some of my audience do not hold much astrological knowledge and some do. So it depends where you are. Some are at a very advanced tertiary level, some are at a very amateur beginner level, but that doesn't matter. Okay. You have YouTube. So if you're at a very beginning stage, you can go on YouTube and learn about mahadashas and what they are. So they give you, good teaching on the subject matter. All right. So today I want to talk to you about more of a astrological and psychological perspective on this topic. So I have made extensively one video, I think 3 parts on mahadasha, and they are basically timelines or time period of a specific planet which is having a heavy influence on your life, like for 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years even. Okay, so you can check out some videos I've made about mahadashas, but today there's something more. Now I want to surgically open that point where the planet is sitting and it's a mahadasha lord. Now always know that when a planet, okay, let's say you're going through a 16-year Jupiter period, you're going through Jupiter mahadasha right now. Okay, now Jupiter will be sitting in a particular sign or a nakshatra. Okay, now look at that nakshatra. That nakshatra has a lord. For example, if you have Jupiter, your mahadasha lord, 16 years Jupiter, is sitting on Revati nakshatra. Revati nakshatra is ruled by Mercury. Okay, so now you're dealing with another planet entirely. So a lot of people, when they look at their mahadasha system, okay, they are very preoccupied with the dasha lord, with the mahadasha lord, and you often ignore the nakshatra and the nakshatra lord because they have huge personality. Trust me, the nakshatra and the nakshatra lord. Now let's say you're going through this 16-year Jupiter period. Mercury comes into the play now. Mercury comes into the equation. Okay, you will notice that you have this Mercury traits. You become sharper, you may have a sharper wit, you may be more communicative, more articulate. Okay, better sense of humor. Maybe before Rahu mahadasha, maybe Rahu was in the Nishta, maybe. All right, very Martian, Mars. You perhaps you are always angry. Maybe Rahu is conjunct Saturn, so you are always angry and unhappy about something, and you rarely laugh or smile. But after your Rahu mahadasha finish, and now Jupiter dasha, even people looking at you, they'll be like, "Oh wow, you've softened up, you've lightened up. Look at your demeanor, look at your temperament. You're such a different person." You probably would be having such remarks. Oh, whatever that happened in your life, whatever event that happened in your life has now made you softer, softened you up, and you have great sense of humor all of a sudden. Oh, you're so different from how you used to be 10 years ago. I saw you. You've changed so much, and it's not just Jupiter. It's not just Jupiter. Because if you psychoanalyze Jupiter character and traits, Jupiter is, can be very moral if it's in dignity. I'm talking about good dignity. Can be influential, of course, teacher, right? Being a good guide, all right, guardian. But you now have good wit, you have good sense of humor. You're doing all this intellectual stuff. Wow, now that's where Mercury comes into play. So this is your mahadasha lord. It's sitting on the nakshatra. And that's where you now take your magnifying glass and break that down to study a person's character for these next 16 years. And then slowly that Mercury trait would start surfacing and be expressed by the individual. Suddenly they'll feel like from Rahu Mahadasha, and now they've gone to this Guru Mahadasha, which is on Mercury Nakshatra, a lot of transition and change will slowly start happening. Okay? And they themselves will feel, oh, I need to communicate more. I think I'm going to join the debate club, the Rotary club. I think I'm going to go into public speaking. I want to speak more. I want to communicate. I want to put myself out there. Things like that. Okay? Then maybe you may not like your job so much because it doesn't challenge you here. So now you're like, I gotta change job. I need a job where I can problem solve, I can help, I can use my head more. Maybe you had a boring job during your Rahu Mahadasha, and once your Jupiter in Mercury Nakshatra starts, you are more active here right now. Maybe your Rahu Dasha being connected to Mars or whatever, I'm just giving you an example. You may have been more into fitness, more active, more physically active. But once the shift happens, you would notice you want to be more engaged in critical thinking. You want to be more engaged with things related to maybe research, doing a lot of thinking, problem solving, getting to the root and core of things. Okay, now let me give you another example. Let's say you're going through Saturn period. Okay, Saturn period, 19 years Sunny Mahadasha, Saturn Mahadasha. Let's say your Saturn is sitting on Mula Nakshatra. Okay, so what's going to happen? What are we, okay, let's say you're waiting for your Shani Mahadasha to start, and it's going to start in, let's say, 1 year. And right now you are going through Jupiter Rahu Sabdasa, Jupiter Mahadasha, Rahu Sabdasa. And you are anticipating your Saturn Mahadasha. And Saturn is on Mula Nakshatra. And let's say there's some conjunction. Okay, let's not even go to conjunction. Let's keep it simple. Okay, so Saturn on Mula Nakshatra. Now, who rules Mula? Ketu. So do you know the astrotheology of Mula Nakshatra? Do you know the personality traits, characteristics, temperament of this particular nakshatra and its said deity, which is obviously Nritti and Brahma? So after this Guru Mahadasha, now you're transiting to Shani Mahadasha, and people around you, your family, people close to you, maybe your co-workers, will start noticing, oh, he's changing. He's changed. Now from, let's say Jupiter is in Revati, Shani is in Mula, people will see the transition from a Mercury personality and the slow transition to Ketu personality. Now what can we expect from this person, right? So obviously Saturn will have its own characteristics. Maybe this person might be more disciplined, okay? Saturn is a teacher as well. So now Saturn is sitting on Dhanus Rasi, which is ruled by Jupiter. So the Saturn would be influenced by Jupiterian persona as well. Okay. And when you talk about Mula Nakshatra, Nritti and Brahma, this is very important. Always, always, always look at the nakshatra that your Mahadasha planet is sitting on, because the person will start exhibiting and expressing the traits. So this person can be going into great research, because Mula is always about chopping the surface and the branches and going deep into the roots of whatever there is. This person can be a consultant because it falls in Dhanus Rasi, which is the 9th sign. Okay? And the 9th is always about throughout your life. If the moon or sun or some planets are in the 9th house, you have spent your life gaining knowledge, gaining experience, perhaps in the corporate world, not necessarily always limited to something spiritual or things like that, or religion. It can be in the corporate world, and you worked your way from, bottom to top, and you've gathered all your experience and your knowledge. Now it's time to guide, those who are younger and those on the more amateur level. Okay, so things like that. But Ketu's personality, we need to understand Ketu's personality in this case study. Can they become suddenly more spiritual? Can they all of a sudden, say things like, I want to be disassociated with everything, I want to be detached, I want to go more into meditation, I want to, be more oriented and get to know my soul, things like that? Yes, possibilities are very high, because you have to understand Ketu is not only very grounded, it can make a person terribly, strong workaholic, having strong work ethics, not really work ethics, but Saturn perhaps would give that good work ethic. But Ketu is very grounded. They can be fully absorbed into the work that they are doing, can be a good career-oriented person. But Ketu is also here in the third eye, connected to the pineal gland, which is reptilian in nature. Hence, Ketu's connection with the pineal gland makes it, as any astrologer would know, the significator of moksha, mysticism, and spiritual knowledge and experiences. So it depends, right now, this question then depends on how the individual is. Are they more inclined towards a more materialistic corporate life? Or are they already on a journey of spiritual mysticism and detachment? That will answer your question, knowing the person. Okay, but these traits and personality will definitely surface, right? They can also be dealing with mental illness, because Ketu is obviously a planet very much related to mental illness as well. From a very light version to a very heavy one. So yeah. So whatever these planets are associated with, these can, these personality traits can surface in the individual. So it's very, very important to always look at your mahadasha lord and not to ignore mahadasha lord and the nakshatra that it is sitting in. Okay, people are always very preoccupied with the fact that, oh, my guru mahadasha is happening, he's the 8th lord, he's the 2nd lord, he's associated with this house. That's all people see. While that is true, whatever house is associated with will manifest as events in your life. But also, if you're interested in studying human behavior, all right, behavioral sciences, then you must go deeper. You must go down to the roots of the planets, of houses, Ketu's position, Moon's position. You got to open up a little bit, go deep. You can understand how people's mind work, why suddenly, this person's character is changing, why suddenly he's asking for a divorce, what's going on, perhaps Venus. And that's why quite a popular actor is been accused of having an affair, and the wife is asking for a divorce because she claims that her husband is having an affair since 2021 with one of his co-stars. And you check his chart, he's going through Venus mahadasha. And then you check the nakshatra Venus is sitting on, and then you also see that that actor has Rahu Ketu conjunct with Venus. So Venus mahadasha is going to give a very powerful impact. Whenever Rahu Ketu comes into picture, it's going to be intense. Okay, so anyway, more about that in another video. So today I just wanted to talk to you about this, and I shall be seeing you in the next one. Bye.